Surprising this isn't all over the news. The media that's supposed to inform the public of what's going on. You would think this would be an outrage and we would be descending down upon this terrorist training camp in our own country. You would think that it would be high priority, Mr. POTUS, to go after radical terrorists. I don't care where they are from. They could be from Mars for all I care. The word terrorist. Anybody that's doing this in this country should be treated as military occupation and be treated as such, not with our legal system. Should be tribunal military trials and then taken out to the wall and shot. Yes, that's the way it should be done, literally. That way we send a message to people that if you come here and do this, this is what's going to happen to you. You're not going to sit and rot in a jail and suck our tax money up and pay for you to sit in there, no way, and rot until you die. That ain't going to happen. Not if I was in charge. I swear on my life, I swear to God, whatever God is, I would assassinate you guys after I did our legal military tribunal, and you would be walked out to that wall and put a bullet in your head. That's where it would sit at, right there.
Dozen hungry children were found living in filthy conditions.
Seeing them walking around like that, it was hard to see.
One of them is under investigation for training children to commit school shootings.
11 children have been rescued from a school shooting training camp in New Mexico. But media reports conflict. Does it have something to do with radical Islam? I'm Anders Hagstrom, and these are the facts. The New York Times reported that 5 adults at the compound were accused of training children to commit school shootings, but made no mention of their radical motives. The Washington Post, on the other hand, reported that the adults were suspected of extreme Muslim beliefs. But what did law enforcement say? That the 2 men who ran the compound were heavily armed radical Muslims. Pictures of the compound look more like a terrorist training camp from the Middle East than something you'd expect to see in New Mexico. And that's because that's exactly what it was. Police describe the children as looking like, quote, third world country refugees, not only with no food or fresh water, but with no shoes or personal hygiene and basically dirty rags for clothing. Police also found the body of a 3-year-old boy buried outside the compound. What's even worse is that one of the men is the son of a prominent Muslim imam from Brooklyn, who is suspected but never indicted of assisting in the 1993 bombing of the World Trade Center. And what's more, the imam has been a longtime mentor for none other than Linda Sarsour.
What part of I don't want you to video record me?
We're doing an interview.
Sarsour has made a name for herself as being both a Muslim and a feminist by starting the Women's March.
You have fascists and white supremacists and Islamophobes reigning in the White House.
She is an instigator. She is not standing for what she says. She is trying to incite radical ideas and get people in this country to do and commit radical situations. She is definitely a problem to this nation, and she should be removed immediately, willfully, peacefully, or not.
Since then, she's fought off accusations of anti-Semitism and sympathy to more radical factions within Islam.
My favorite person in this room, because that's mutual, is Imam Siraj Wahhaj.
But the New York Times wasn't alone in shying away from this terror camp's religious ties. NBC News, CBS, Time Magazine, and CNN also neglected to mention its ties to radical Islam. And now let's go to your comments about last week's video about Antifa. All right, Michael Hardman. Michael Hardman said, I'm not even going to try to read that. It's just totally incoherent. Michael Ford says, at least in an Antifa attack, no one is going to get hurt. Should be good for comedy hour. Yeah, Michael. But unfortunately, arms that are too weak to break a window with a hammer are still pretty good at throwing Molotov cocktails. Hold on. I'm supposed to be mad at people punching Nazis? Hold your breath on that one. Actually, Raquel, the guy who got punched was a Democrat, and the only instance I've seen of a Nazi getting punched is this one.
Kind of assembly.
Like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, or check out our friends at American Voices and the Daily Caller homepage. Thanks for watching again. I'm Anders Hagstrom, and these are the facts.
Well, as I said, we have the enemy not only at the gates, inside the gates. It is easier to fight off an enemy, but it's harder to dislodge them once they have taken hold within your lands. It's going to be a rough ride, ladies and gentlemen. We continue to allow this insanity that is being driven by a handful of elitist punks, is what it is. Punks. If we were a real civil society, we wouldn't allow this to happen. And we wouldn't allow the elite to have risen to the power that they are to manipulate our societies. In a real, true civil society, we would have hunted down those elites like animals and dealt with them accordingly for creating all of the chaos that they do and all of the disruptions in humanity that they do so that they can be the beneficiaries of the outcomes. Keep playing into this insanity game. It's not going to get any better. It's only going to get worse. Your compliance with the system that feeds this problem is the very problem that is at hand.